She betrayed me. Even now, speaking those words feels surreal. You spend years convinced you know someone, entrusting them with your heart and your future, only to realize they've been living another life right in front of you. The truth came crashing down one evening when I came home earlier than usual. Her laptop sat open on the kitchen counter. I had no intention of prying. I only wanted to check the time. But there it was. A string of messages still visible on the screen. His name at the top. Words that cut through me like glass. Last night was incredible. Can't wait to see you again. My chest tightened. It felt like the ground vanished beneath me. Every part of me wanted to scream, to throw something, to demand answers. Instead, I closed the laptop, sat down, and waited. When she walked in, I didn't yell. I simply looked her straight in the eyes and said, "I know." She froze, her face draining of color. I thought she'd break down, beg, or at least show guilt. But no. She whispered softly, "I'm sorry, but I don't love you anymore." And that was it. 10 years of marriage ended in one breath. I couldn't stay another minute in that house. I grabbed a bag, stuffed in some clothes, and drove off without a destination. My thoughts spun out of control, my chest tight as if I couldn't breathe. The only person I thought to call was my best friend, Daniel. We'd been inseparable since childhood. Brothers in everything except blood. When I told him what happened, he didn't press me with questions. He just said, "Come here. Stay as long as you need." When I arrived, his mother, Linda, was there too. She'd always treated me like her own son. The moment she saw my face, she hugged me tightly and whispered, "She's a fool for letting you go." That first night I barely slept. Daniel's house was warm, filled with life and laughter, but inside me was nothing but storm. I lay in the guest room, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of my marriage, every smile that now seemed like a lie. By dawn I felt hollow, ready to collapse. But Linda wouldn't let me sink. She knocked on my door and said, "Breakfast is ready. You need to eat." She sat me at the table with Daniel, poured me coffee like family, and spoke to me without pity, without sugarcoating. For the first time since it all fell apart, I didn't feel invisible. Over the next days, Linda became my anchor. And she wasn't alone. She had a close circle of friends, women her age, full of energy, women who had lived enough life to recognize heartbreak and know how to lift someone out of it. They came often, bringing food, cracking jokes, and making me laugh when I thought I'd forgotten how. At first, I resisted. I wanted to drown in my pain. But slowly, the weight began to lift. Linda's living room turned into a space of healing. Her and her friends wouldn't let me withdraw. They dragged me into conversations, insisted I watch movies with them, even got me dancing one evening when music played. It wasn't just distraction. They reminded me of my worth. They shared their own stories of loss and recovery. One of them looked me in the eyes and said, "You are not the one who failed. She is." That pierced me deeply. I realized I had been carrying guilt that didn't belong to me. And the strangest thing happened. For the first time in years I felt wanted. Not romantically at first, but as a person who mattered. My wife had erased me, made me invisible. These women brought me back into the light. One night, after everyone had gone to bed, Linda and I sat alone in the kitchen. She poured me a glass of wine and told me, "You're stronger than you think, and you're not alone." The tone in her voice was different, something deeper than motherly comfort. Our eyes met, and for a heartbeat, I didn't see her as Daniel's mom but as a woman who understood me in a way I desperately needed. Things blurred after that. The loneliness, the betrayal, the warmth of being cared for. It shifted something. Boundaries faded. One evening when her friends were over, the laughter carried a new weight, touches lingered longer, compliments held unspoken meaning. Felt risky, intoxicating, but in my broken state it also felt like freedom. I won't spell out every detail. You can imagine what followed. But I will say this. They made sure I never felt alone. Every moment in that house reminded me I was still alive, still a man worthy of affection, still someone who could be seen and desired after being cast aside like nothing. Was it messy? Was it right? Probably not. But in those weeks, it was exactly what I needed. A reminder that betrayal does not define me, that love, care, and attention can come from places you least expect. When I finally left Daniel's home, I wasn't the same shattered man who had arrived. I carried scars, but I was stronger. My wife thought she had destroyed me. She thought her infidelity had broken me forever. Instead, she pushed me into a place where I rebuilt myself piece by piece, with the help of people who truly valued me. And when she eventually called, crying, begging for another chance, I didn't falter. I told her, no, you had your chance. You chose someone else. Now I choose myself. For the first time in years, I believed it.